Our school kids know of a secret talent that I have, and I'm going to share it with all of you this morning, okay? Rabbit in the pea patch picking out peas, rabbit in the pea patch picking out peas. Rabbit in the pea patch cooking them out, everybody heard the old man shout. Rabbit ran and rabbit flew, rabbit tore his shirt in two. Rabbit in the pea patch picking out peas, rabbit in the pea patch picking out peas. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Or as Elvis would say, thank you, God bless you, I love you, thank you, thank you. You know, it's interesting, talent, the word talent, you know, that word has evolved over the centuries. And our understanding of it today, of course, is something that, you know, like we have a God-given ability, that we have this natural endowment that we can do, and it covers a wide spectrum of things which we consider valuable, whatever that may be. But in the time of Jesus, the word talent, which now we have this understanding today, it was really focused. It was focused on financial aspects. And in fact, a talent wasn't a coin, it was actually a measurement, it was a weight. And depending upon what the coin was made out of, like whether it was copper or silver or gold, then determined by the talent what the value of that was. And of course, the parable that Jesus shares with us, we assume that the talent is of great value. But what was it? And Jesus focuses on this third person, this third servant, who had one talent. What was it that was so bad that he did? You know, he didn't steal that talent. It was given to him. He didn't squander it like the prodigal son on dissolute living. He saved it. And he didn't lie. You know, he could have figured some sort of convincing alibi and made an excuse and got away with it. But he didn't. He told the truth. So what was it that this third servant did that was so wrong? It's not what he did, my friends. It's what he didn't do that Jesus is focusing on. You know, there's an old saying, maybe you've heard it before, use it or lose it. That applies to everything in life. Use it or lose it. I remember reading once about the city of Segovia, Spain. And the Romans, when they were there in the year 109, they built this water aqueduct. It went way into the mountains and brought this sprinkling clear water down to the city of Segovia, in use for 20 centuries. Until the turn of the 20th century, city leaders decided that they wanted to preserve this aqueduct for future generations. And mind you, it's been around for 2,000 years in use, but now they want to preserve it. So what they did is they redirected the water in modern pipes, and what happened was, it wasn't long until right after that, the aqueducts began to crumble because the sun shined on that mortar and dried it up, and the stones began to sag and fell into ruins. Use it or lose it. You know, I saw a documentary not too long ago, and they were showing this Hindu holy man. And if you know anything about the Hindu religion, and particularly those that are the holy leaders, they will apply often ascetical practices. They will discipline the body in order to raise the spirit. And in this case, this one holy man, He put himself in a yoga-type position where he didn't need his legs. And he stayed in that position for years, where he didn't use his legs. And I remember looking at him, and his legs were smaller than my arms. He couldn't use them anymore. He lost the use and function of his legs. Use it or lose it. If you want to lose a relationship, whether that be with a spouse or a friend or a neighbor or your children, you don't have to do anything aggressive. You don't have to say anything bad. You don't have to attack them. All you have to do is nothing. Do nothing. Pay no attention to them. Ignore them. Show no affection, no interest. Do not communicate with them, and you will find eventually that you will lose that relationship. Use it or lose it. And so much so does it apply to the spiritual life. If we choose to do nothing, to not pray, to not spend time with God in worship, to not take an effort in spiritual reading, or to show your love of God in neighbor by works of charity. If you choose to leave these things alone, to ignore them, to put them aside, you will lose your relationship with God. Not that it's any God's doing, it's your undoing that has caused this. Use it or lose it. It's interesting that Jesus shares this parable of the talents near the end of Matthew's gospel. This is the last major speech that Jesus gives before his passion and death on the cross. Isn't it interesting that this parable is the one that Jesus chooses to share with those who would listen? About a master who gave everything he had to his servants. Because Jesus in turn did the same. He who is Lord and Master gave everything he had, including his life, so that we, his servants, might be saved. Wouldn't it be awful if we chose to respond like that third servant and say, Lord, I know how kind and compassionate you are and that you gave everything, even your life for me. So I did nothing. You know, our catechumens and candidates, they inspire me on this day, and particularly with this gospel, because I'm reminded of the gifts that God has given to me, not least of which the gift of faith, of which you show and remind me again. The gift of this church, the gift of the sacraments, indeed the gift of Christ himself, and the promise of resurrection. May we all be inspired to recommit ourselves, to truly give thanks for these and so many more of the gifts and blessings that God has provided for us. May we use it and never lose it. To have an act of faith, to participate in worship and to receive the sacraments and to show that love of God in our family and our friends, our neighbors. Then one day, when God calls us to himself, he too will say to us, as he did to those first two servants, well done, good and faithful servant. Come, share your master's joy.